Let's bring in our friend Sarah Sanders, Fox News contributor, former White House press secretary. Good morning to you, Sarah.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Good morning. You're welcome. So yesterday, I don't know if you watched it, but we had that town hall. Brett and Martha did an excellent job interviewing the president at the Lincoln Memorial. And he was talking about something that's on all of our minds, just the balancing act. You know, many of us are scared that we're going to get it, but many are also scared about losing jobs and watching this economy crumble. Listen to this.
Well, I think you can satisfy both. If you're scared, you're going to stay back a little bit and you're going to watch it. But there are other people that are scared about being locked in a room and losing their job and not having any income. And, you know, for the first time, these are workers. These are people that want to get back and work and make a living. And they're afraid their job's not going to be there. And at a certain point, if you keep it going too long, that's going to happen. So I understand that very well.
What's your reaction?
I think the president's exactly right that he has a difficult job in finding that perfect balance. Obviously, we want to do everything we can to protect American lives while at the same time protecting American livelihoods. I think the president's taken the right approach in allowing states to have a lot of flexibility in making decisions that are the best for those states. I think mayors being empowered is also a good thing because what works in Arkansas isn't necessarily going to be what works in New Jersey. I think the federal government has taken the right approach in providing resources and that flexibility to allow states to make those decisions. As you guys talked about, there are a lot of states that are making some steps today to start that reopening process. The American people are the type of people that want to work, they want to go out and do their part. And a lot of people have kind of that mental and emotional health tied to working, and they want to get back out there. And I think that if they're in a place and their workplace can allow them to safely return, that's a good thing for a lot of Americans. Those that are the most vulnerable still have to take those precautions, still need to make sure that they're maintaining social distancing, they're following those guidelines. But at the end of the day, I think under this president's leadership, he will find a way to bring America back and bring our economy back because he's done it before, and I think he can certainly do it again.
Well, you know, Sarah, everybody's excited about reopening the country for business, but at the same time, the door may be open, but the question is, when will the people come in? As the people at the business try to figure out how to run and operate at a safe distance and things like that, then there's got to be confidence in the public that when I walk in that place, I'm going to be safe. And I think that, I don't know if that happens today or if it takes a little time.
And again, I think this is one of the things that's so difficult about this process. It's unprecedented and something none of us have been through before. I think a lot of businesses are going that extra mile, trying to reassure their customers. I think a lot of the processes that they've put in place over the last several weeks, allowing curbside pickup and delivery and things like that they haven't traditionally offered, have helped a lot. And I think we're going to continue to see that, and that maybe that becomes the new normal. Hopefully at some point over the course of the next several months, we can get back to where group gatherings are something that we get to do again. I know that everybody, including the people in our household, are ready to see friends and family on the regular basis again.
So, Sarah, I don't want to think politics is playing a role, but it's hard for me to not see what's happening in Michigan, seeing the outrage and the slow rollout, and wonder if the Democratic governor, like the Democratic governor of Maine and the Democratic governor of California, are creating outrage because the citizens are seeing they need a faster pace with the rollout. And I just hope the Democratic governors aren't going, I'm in no rush to turn this economy around for this president. Do you fear that, or am I overthinking it?
Look, I think these governors are trying to make the best decisions they can, but ultimately they have to remember that they have an obligation to the people of their state to allow them to provide for their families. And if everyone else, and they get to a place where they can safely do that, they have an obligation to at some point allow that to take place. I think we need to provide the support, the resources. And again, I think the president has done exactly the right thing in providing that flexibility, providing financial resources for states and in terms of supplies so that they can do that. I think he has to continue to do that, and hopefully the governors will make the right decision to do what's best for the people in their communities, both protecting their health and protecting their economies, because at the end of the day, those people are going to be voted for as well. They'll either get to keep their jobs or not because they did the right thing by the people in those communities.
That's right. So, Sarah, we've all had to find ways to talk to our children about this. Depending on their age, we give them specifics. My daughter's 4, so she doesn't really understand this, but I know you, how old are your kids?
I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
Okay, so the president was asked about it, how he's telling his son, how he's talking to his son about it, and his grandkids. Listen to this.
I sat down with my son. I sat down with my grandchildren. I said a terrible thing has happened. It's a thing that we've never experienced. But I said something's happened, but we're going to be strong, and we're going to get out of it, and our country is going to be bigger and better and stronger than ever before.
How did you talk to your children, Sarah?
Much in the same way. You know, I think the most important thing we can do is be honest with our kids and be transparent. My kids are young, so it's hard for them to process everything that's going on. They don't understand why they can't go to school and why they can't play with their friends every day. But at the same time, we've tried to really focus on some of the positive things, that we still live in the greatest country on the face of the planet. We have a God who loves us, and ultimately, this is all under His control, and we've got to spend a lot of time together as a family. We've been homeschooling our kids. That could be to their detriment, but it's been a learning experience for all of us. But at the end of the day, we've tried to be honest with our kids. It can be very difficult to hear your 4-year-old pray every night that he hopes nobody gets killed in his family from the virus. But at the same time, we try to reinforce that, again, we have a God that loves us, and that we are still in America, the most resilient and tough country, and we will come back, and we will come back stronger, and we're going to do that together as a family and as a country.
That's right. We're in this together. Sarah, what do you make of the fact that over the last week or so, the president has stopped doing the nightly 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock p.m. press briefings where it might go half hour, might go 2 hours, and instead does more targeted events during the day, like it's Small Business Day, it's First Responders Day, where he has guests into the White House. And then you had the big event last night at the Lincoln Memorial. Is that effective, more effective at getting the message out? I saw that over the last 2 weeks, I think it was Gallup, says that the president's ratings now have gone up 6 points in 2 weeks.
Look, I always think it's a great thing for the president to speak directly to the American people. He does that in a variety of different ways. Some days it's by Twitter, some days it's by town hall at the Lincoln Memorial, and some days it's in the press briefing room. I think the important thing is that the president has been accessible, and he has been very upfront and vocal, and shown that he's an actual leader in this country's time of crisis. He stepped up at a time when we needed him most, and he's been upfront and center, and I think that's been really important. And when he needs other people to come in, whether it's the Vice President, Larry Kudlow, Dr. Fauci, and Dr. Birx, and others to come forward and talk about a different message, he's done that. I think he's done the right thing in providing constant and frequent information. I love the different formats and venues. I think he should continue to do that. And I also think Kayleigh McEnany did a phenomenal job last week in her first press briefing. I think it's a good idea to mix that up and have her continue to engage and speak on his behalf as well.
So, Sarah, the New York Times had a brilliant idea. They thought it would be a great idea for the DNC to investigate Joe Biden about that sexual assault. What could possibly go wrong? Let's really get to the bottom of it, because you know they're going to drill down deep until they get that answer. So everybody was saying, "Are you kidding me? I think I'm going to reject my subscription again." So also add to this on the allegations from Tara Reid. Fox News has learned that Ronan Farrow is doing an extensive piece in the New Yorker on this. Listen, the last thing this country needs is another sex scandal to go through it, but it's not our choice. Where do you think this is heading?
Look, when you first said the New York Times had a good idea, I knew something must be wrong. The idea that the DNC would be the one to take the lead on any investigation involving one of their own candidates is laughable. I thought it was an Onion headline, not a New York Times headline. They should be embarrassed for themselves for even suggesting that idea. At the end of the day, I think people just want fairness. The hypocrisy that we've seen from the left is truly mind-blowing. The fact fact that they went so aggressively after Justice Kavanaugh and demanded to get to the bottom of things, but want to just brush this aside, I think is the real challenge that most people are dealing with right now. And they want to see a level of fairness from both sides. And the hypocrisy from the media and the left on this is really hard to swallow. I think that we should move forward, put the information out there, let the investigation go where it may. And again, maybe Joe comes out great, and good for him if he does. But at the end of the day, we have to go through the process of the investigation and see what happens, and it should be fair on both sides.
Okay, Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.